The Federal Reserve has finally paused rate hikes after 15 months as inflation declines to 4% and jobless claims rose to 262,000. But the Fed is still saying that they're going to hike rates in the future as we see retail sales rise again in May, and the Fed is still a ways away from their 2% goal. So, has the Fed's policy of raising rates worked so far, and what does all this mean for the mortgage rates and the Florida real estate market? Well, that's what we're talking about today, so don't go anywhere. Hi, my friends. Lee Brickey here, your best source for everything real estate in Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast, whether you're looking to buy, sell, or invest. So if any of that interests you, you're going to want to subscribe. And for subscribing, here's a picture of Henry. So let's get started with some good news. It looks like the Fed's plan to rein in inflation is finally showing signs of working. If we look at the CPI report, you can see where we peaked last June over 9%, and we are a little over 4% year over year, which is lower than expected. And looking at the core CPI, which is goods and services excluding food and energy, is a little stickier, but we are seeing some improvement. But digging deeper, you can see from this chart, prices are down in almost every sector except for shelter, food away from home, and transportation. But shelter is a lagging indicator because most tenants are leasing for a year. So as we move closer to the end of 2023, we should see rent prices continuing to drop. But Redfin and Zillow says it's already happening, and we are seeing the same thing with our clients. As rentals expire, landlords are having to reduce their rent to get new tenants in. So what does all this mean for mortgage rates? Well, as long as the Fed keeps talking publicly about rate hikes in the future, rates will more than likely continue to stay between 6 to 7%. This is because it's creating volatility in the market. For example, last Thursday in front of Congress, Powell said that inflation pressures are still running high, and the process of getting inflation back down to 2% has a long way to go. But many experts are wondering what indicators the Fed is looking at. As ex-Treasury Chief Larry Summers says, the Fed's latest move is confusing and disturbing, as he says the decision likely reflects the central bank's internal politics. And just a few days after the Fed's pause, Fed officials Waller and Barkin both called for more increases to get to the 2% target. Then last week on Thursday, Powell told Congress that it will be appropriate to raise rates twice more this year if the economy evolves as expected. And when asked what as expected means, Powell said, continued modest growth plus continued cooling of labor plus continued cooling of inflation, meaning that even if the Fed sees inflation is getting under control, they are not going to back off raising rates. So this is creating volatility in the markets because in the past, as inflation comes down, rates come down, but this is not what we are seeing. And going back to the beginning of this video, we saw that inflation in June of 2022 was 9.1%. Then this year, inflation is sitting around 4%. And when we get to July inflation numbers, we're likely to be sitting somewhere around 3%. So we will have to see what the future holds, but there is still resilience in the housing market as prices stay strong, even though we are seeing sluggish spring numbers as sales fell more than 20% compared to last year. But before you start thinking this is the beginning of the end for the housing market, Redfin's numbers just came out talking about prices and inventory, and it says that the housing market is so tight that home prices are still 44% higher than before the pandemic, and there are 39% fewer homes for sale. And in the US, it's short 4 million homes. And in Florida, Miami is in need of 60,000 new homes to accommodate local families. This is because nearly 92% of all homeowners now have a mortgage rate below 6%. So supply and demand would say that the housing prices are not coming down, which should be good for sellers, But if you have your home on the market right now, selling your home may be a challenge depending on the market you are in, because there are way fewer qualified buyers in the market because of high mortgage rates, coupled with continued high prices. And another thing to keep in mind, if you're trying to sell your home in a market with a lot of new construction, you may end up dropping your price more than you like or giving a substantial seller credit. Builders are offering incentives on their homes, and it is attracting buyers. As rates moved off of 7% into the mid sixes at the beginning of June, mortgage applications increased again, like at the beginning of the year, and new construction increased by 21.7% year over year. So it's a real mixed bag, and I know for most of us, it can be confusing and hard to navigate. But to sum it up, it looks like mortgage rates will remain above 6% till the end of the year. Inventory will remain low as resales continue to move sideways or inch up in price ever so slightly in most markets. And in markets with new construction, I believe this will continue to be a good choice for buyers who can use those incentives to help with closing costs. But if we start to see rates eventually moving into the fives either this year or next year, I believe you will see a lot of buyers coming off the sidelines and hopefully more sellers willing to sell their home. So what will that mean for prices? Will they begin to increase because inventory is still low? I'd love to know your thoughts. Leave your answers and comments in the comment section below. I enjoy reading them and I answer them all. And if you're looking to buy and sell anywhere in Palm Beach County or the Treasure Coast, don't forget that I am a full-time real estate agent and my information is right there on your screen. And do me a favor, if you found value in this video, please give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to slap that subscribe button right there. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of our real estate tips and tours. And you can watch our next video right there on the WALKABLE community of tradition. Be kind to each other, and I'll see you in the next video.